So do you ever hit that point in life where everything just kind of falls apart? Where one day you wake up and it feels like the world you are really enjoying no longer seems to exist and it's suddenly been replaced by something that's cold, hollow and painfully unfamiliar? Well, that's what I want to talk to you today about. How, whilst life did feel like it was falling apart for me, one simple but beautiful game just helped. Just a little bit through what I could call one of the darkest and hardest points in my life. Okay, so to set the scene, I was living in a caravan on a resort park with my now ex-girlfriend, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't the perfect setup by all means, and it was small, and it was a cramped place where we sort of just got in each other's way constantly. But it was definitely peaceful and full of most evenings eating a nice pizza with a little bit of co-op Minecraft. And it was good. In the morning I'd just be able to sit out on the balcony with my nice cup of coffee and watch my best friends, who were known as the ducks, just swimming around the mini lake that was there, and it was just nice. But this was short-lived, and that nice warm feeling that I'd had was very soon replaced when I decided to take a career change to advising people on buying homes, which was completely out of my comfort zone, as most of the time typically an introverted person and I'd just like to keep to myself, which is crazy in itself, right, as I'm now on YouTube deciding to tell you all about my life story. Anyway, this job wasn't what I expected, and the work was so unbelievably draining, and I'd come home every day feeling like a complete shell of myself, so I sort of found myself trapped in a routine that was slowly eating away at my mental health on the daily. And I remember one evening I was scrolling on Game Pass and I stumbled across this game called Assassin's Creed Origins. Now, I'd only played Odyssey and Valhalla in the past, which were both incredible games, and I thought, why not? Surely Origins is going to be amazing too. But I probably ended up playing less than an hour of it before I cast it to one side, and I began thinking over and over about how stressed I was, and I had no way out of the mess I was in. It was a real shame because this difficult part of my life went on for a few months, coming home from work and being eaten away at by my own thoughts, and whilst this was happening, my last bit of happiness just being chipped away piece by piece, little did I know that I had another major problem coming my way. And this was that breakup was headed straight for me from my girlfriend at the time. So anyway, one day I woke up and was driving on the way to my advice appointment. I just had a complete anxiety meltdown. Enough was enough, really. I was at the point where I couldn't do it anymore, and I called my boss straight up, sitting in my car on the side of a random country road as a complete wreck, and I thanked him for the opportunity and I said my piece. The stress was finally over, and I felt a slight bit of relief inside despite having no job to go to and no immediate future income. So there I am, driving back home, looking for a bit of comfort from the girlfriend and some reassurance that I'd maybe done the right thing and everything could work out. And maybe even just pick up a good game finally. Maybe some more Minecraft with the girlfriend, and to feel a bit of peace before tackling my unemployment issue the next day. But in the end, all of that never really did happen, and instead I ended up being met with anger, being called stupid for what I'd done, and I found myself single, moving back home with the parents within the week. And I didn't even get a cuddle. So the first week of living back home with the parents was really hard. I hadn't lived with my family now for around 5 years, and I was suddenly back at home with no job, no ducks, and battling with my mind about still being in love with my ex. But eventually it was the end of the week and I'd accomplished nothing except getting rejected from 5 jobs I'd applied for and consuming half of my parents' fridge. Thanks, mum and dad. So that was it, time for a change I thought, and time to try and get back into gaming, because deep down I knew gaming had always helped me and my mental health in the past, so surely it would work now, right? And what better way to try and get me out of this rut and mindset than going back to that game I couldn't enjoy before? You guessed it, Assassin's Creed Origins. You know what, this time around everything did feel amazing, and I got past that first hour and Egypt became my escape while searching for a new job. This vast, endless world of pure desert enjoyment where I could finally breathe again. And there was something about the silence of that desert, the way the sand stretched forever yet somehow still beautiful, and the way the sun beamed across the horizon. I was finding peace in a game when my real life wasn't quite as peaceful. For the first time in a long time, over that next month, I felt quite calm. I'd spend hours just exploring, me and my camel riding across that desert, climbing up the pyramids just to watch the sun. This game is seriously beautiful, and I cannot state enough how beautiful this game truly is. So anyway, as I played more and more of this game, something deeper started happening, and I began to see parts of myself in Bayek. His story, the story of a Medjay who loses his son to the Order of the Ancients. I found that hitting a little bit harder than expected. That kind of pain, that loss, changes you. And I think that's what ended up really drawing me into this game. Bayek wasn't just seeking revenge. Really, he was trying to make sense of his loss, to find a reason to keep going when everything he loved was gone and he was powerless against it in that moment. And in a strange way, I guess it felt like I was doing the same. Every mission I completed with him, every quiet ride through the desert, it wasn't just gameplay, it was almost therapy. This character in this wonderful storyline, he wasn't healed at all, but he was moving forward with it, and so was I. So this concept ended up becoming something that I held on to really, because it turns out that when you lose something, whether it's a person, a dream, or even a version of yourself, healing doesn't mean you have to forget. It means learning to live with that pain and to still keep walking. In this respect, I think time is a greater fixer for wounds, and there's a line Bayek says that sticks with me. I walk on through this world. I'm not at peace, but I'm not at war. And at the time, that line hit me deeply, and it reminded me that it was okay to not have it all figured out in the moment. It was a reminder that peace doesn't come all at once, and sometimes it's just embracing those small little wins and changes over time. And somehow, Assassin's Creed Origins taught me that. A game. And I realised there's a great power in playing the right game. This game was a safe space whilst I was struggling mentally, and it gave me space to process my pain without any judgment. The exploration in this game is awesome, and having that sense of discovery is grounding. You literally achieve something every time you go and explore, no matter how big or small, and that really ties into the bigger picture of life, doesn't it? This game reminds us that when life can start feeling stagnant, progress doesn't always have to be this big thing for it to be wonderful. Sometimes it can just be about moving forward, one small step at a time. This game is simply incredible, and with many of the smaller missions exploring themes of loss, injustice, or even redemptions. There's even multiple quests helping villagers to rebuild, and some of them involving comforting grieving families, and I suppose, in a way, through Bayek's compassion in this game, it helped me to rediscover empathy, especially at a time when I was feeling emotionally numb. Now, I loved all 200 hours I played of this game, and throughout this journey, it just helped me think less and less about the heartbreak I was going through at the time, and it taught me that it was okay to feel the way I did, and that life would get better. And honestly, by the end of that whole month, all those hours of this sheer beautiful game, I was feeling much better. I still wasn't fully over my ex, but I was definitely at peace with it. And now I was really finding other enjoyment too, like rekindling almost lost friendships. I was spending good time with my family who had missed me, and I'd now managed to get a job back doing what I originally loved, and on higher pay too. So it really worked out for the better, I think. Fast forward 3 years, and here I am now trying to run a YouTube channel, which is something I could never imagine back in that caravan, dating someone that didn't really love me the way I needed to be loved, and the wrong job. So I guess my ultimate take home from this is that, yeah, sometimes we go through some real rough patches, and it is okay to feel how you feel. But just know there's light at the end of the tunnel out there, and sometimes it can be found in a simple game. A simple but beautiful game. Man, I really miss those ducks.